The rain had been falling since dawn, turning the narrow roadside into a ribbon of mud and broken glass. Amir was on his way home after a long day, his thoughts heavy with his own worries, when a faint sound cut through the noise of traffic. At first, he thought it was the wind whistling through the trees. Then he heard it again, a weak, trembling whine. He slowed his steps and followed the sound to an abandoned lot near an old warehouse. There, half hidden beneath a collapsed wooden crate, lay a thin mother dog. Her fur was soaked and matted, her ribs painfully visible. Curled tightly against her belly were 5 tiny puppies, their eyes barely open, shivering as they searched for warmth. The mother dog lifted her head when she saw Amir. Fear flickered in her eyes, but she did not move away. Instead, she pulled her puppies closer, her body forming a fragile shield around them. Amir knelt slowly, careful not to scare her. He could see the exhaustion in her trembling legs and the quiet desperation in the way she licked her pups, as if trying to reassure them that everything would be all right, even though she herself was barely holding on. Someone had clearly abandoned them here, leaving them to face hunger, cold, and danger alone. Amir's heart tightened. He knew he couldn't just walk away. He took off his jacket and gently spread it near the crate, speaking softly. The mother dog watched every movement, torn between fear and hope. When Amir placed a small piece of bread and some water a short distance away, she hesitated, then slowly crawled forward, never taking her eyes off him. She ate quickly, then rushed back to her puppies, as if afraid they might disappear. That simple act broke Amir's heart even more. He made a decision right there. Carefully, he lifted the crate and created a safer space, then called a local animal rescue, but the line was busy. Night was approaching, and the rain showed no sign of stopping. Amir gently gathered the puppies in his jacket and motioned for the mother dog to follow. After a moment of hesitation, she did. Every step she took was a leap of trust. Episode 2 began in Amir's small home, where warmth replaced the cold fear of the street. He laid out old blankets and towels, creating a quiet corner just for them. The mother dog settled down slowly, still tense, her eyes following Amir's every move. The puppies whimpered softly until they felt her warmth again, then gradually grew quiet. Amir prepared warm milk recommended for dogs and watched as the mother drank, strength slowly returning to her eyes. That night, Amir barely slept. Every small sound made him get up to check on them. He noticed one puppy was weaker than the others, struggling to feed. Gently, Amir helped guide the tiny mouth toward its mother, holding his breath until the puppy latched on. When it finally did, Amir felt tears sting his eyes. It was such a small victory, yet it felt enormous. Over the next day, the change was subtle but powerful. The mother dog began to relax, her body no longer rigid with fear. She wagged her tail slightly when Amir entered the room, a silent thank you. The puppies, now dry and warm, began to squirm and crawl over one another, their tiny lives no longer hanging by a thread. Amir realized that rescue wasn't just about saving lives, it was about restoring trust, hope, and dignity. In that quiet room, surrounded by soft whimpers and gentle breaths, a broken family had found safety, and a kind man had found a purpose that filled his heart more than he ever expected. The third episode unfolded over the following days, when Amir realized that saving the mother dog and her puppies was only the beginning of their journey. Early one morning, he noticed the mother dog limping slightly as she moved to check on her pups. When he gently examined her, he saw small cuts on her paws and signs of infection from weeks spent walking on rough streets. Guilt washed over him for not noticing sooner. He immediately arranged a visit to a local veterinarian. The mother dog trembled during the car ride, pressing herself protectively against her puppies, but Amir stayed close, whispering calm words, his hand resting gently on her back. At the clinic, the bright lights and unfamiliar smells made her anxious, yet she did not growl or resist. The veterinarian cleaned her wounds, treated an infection, and confirmed that she had been surviving on almost nothing for weeks. The puppies were examined one by one, tiny hearts beating fast under gentle hands. Despite their rough start, they were surprisingly strong. Amir felt a surge of relief he hadn't realized he was holding. The vet explained that the mother dog's calm behavior showed immense trust, something rare in animals who had been abandoned. Hearing that made Amir's chest ache with both sadness and pride. Back at home, Amir followed every instruction carefully. He woke up at odd hours to check temperatures, prepared nutritious food, and cleaned bedding constantly to keep infections away. Slowly, the mother dog's limp eased, and her eyes grew brighter each day. She began to greet Amir with a full wag of her tail, even resting her head on his knee as if she finally understood she was safe. The puppies started opening their eyes fully, discovering the world for the first time. They stumbled clumsily across the blankets, tumbling over each other, their tiny barks sounding more like squeaks. Each small milestone felt like a miracle. The fourth episode began with an unexpected challenge. One evening, a sudden storm caused the electricity to go out. Darkness filled the house, and the loud thunder terrified the puppies. They cried loudly, their tiny bodies shaking. The mother dog panicked at first, pacing restlessly, unsure how to protect them from this new threat. Amir quickly gathered candles and sat near them, speaking softly and steadily. He placed his hands around the puppies, creating a circle of warmth and safety. Gradually, the mother dog settled beside him, leaning into his presence. That night became a turning point. In the flickering candlelight, the mother dog gently licked Amir's hand, a simple gesture that carried deep meaning. It was trust, gratitude, and acceptance all at once. Amir felt an overwhelming sense of responsibility. These lives depended on him, and he would not fail them. As the storm raged outside, inside the room there was calm, warmth, and a growing bond that no thunder could break. In the days that followed, Amir began sharing their story with friends and neighbors. People started visiting, bringing food, blankets, and even toys for the puppies. The mother dog watched carefully at first, but she no longer showed fear. Instead, she stood tall, her posture proud, as if she knew her family had survived the worst. The puppies grew bolder, wagging their tails and crawling into welcoming hands. Amir realized that kindness was spreading, quietly but powerfully. By the end of episode 4, Amir understood something profound. Rescue was not just an act of saving, it was a chain reaction. One kind decision had created a ripple of compassion, drawing others in. The abandoned family was no longer invisible. They were loved, protected, and surrounded by hope. And in giving them a second chance, Amir's own life had been filled with a warmth and purpose he would carry forever. By the time episode 5 began, the puppies were no longer fragile bundles of fur huddled together for warmth. They had grown noticeably, their bellies round and full, their eyes bright with curiosity. Amir watched them with a quiet smile as they chased one another across the room, slipping on the smooth floor and tumbling into playful heaps. Their laughter like yips filled the house, replacing the silence that once lived there. The mother dog stayed close, alert but calm, her body finally showing signs of health. Her coat had begun to shine again, and the fear that once shadowed her movements had softened into cautious confidence. Amir started introducing simple routines. Every morning, he took the mother dog outside for short walks while the puppies rested. At first, she froze at every sound, a passing car, a distant shout, but Amir never rushed her. He let her set the pace, rewarding her bravery with gentle praise. Slowly, step by step, she learned that the world was no longer a place of constant danger. Back inside, Amir encouraged the puppies to explore safe corners of the house, laying out toys and soft objects to stimulate their growing minds. Each new discovery seemed to fill them with wonder. One afternoon, a neighbor stopped by with her young son. The boy sat quietly on the floor, holding out his hand. The puppies approached first, sniffing curiously, their tails wagging without hesitation. The mother dog watched closely, tense for a moment, then relaxed when she saw no harm. When the boy gently stroked one puppy's head, Amir felt a lump in his throat. This was the first time they had interacted with someone outside his home, and it went better than he had hoped. It felt like a sign that healing was truly happening. Episode 6 arrived with a mixture of joy and heartache. The puppies were old enough to begin thinking about their future homes. Amir knew he could not keep them all, no matter how deeply he loved them. The thought alone made his chest ache. He began working with a local rescue group to find families who would treat the puppies with kindness and responsibility. Each potential adopter was carefully screened. Amir wanted to be sure that the pain of abandonment would never touch these lives again. As visits began, Amir noticed something remarkable. The mother dog no longer cowered when strangers entered. Instead, she observed calmly, her eyes wise and steady. It was as if she understood that her children were being given opportunities she never had. Still, when the first puppy was chosen and gently lifted into new arms, the mother dog let out a soft whine. Amir knelt beside her, resting his hand on her back, whispering reassurances. He felt the same ache she did. Letting go was the hardest part of love. Over the following days, one by one, the puppies left for their new homes. Each farewell was bittersweet. Amir made sure to send them off with blankets carrying their mother's scent, small reminders of where they came from. The house grew quieter, the playful chaos slowly fading. Through it all, the mother dog stayed close to Amir, seeking comfort in his presence. Their bond had deepened into something unbreakable. By the end of episode 6, only the mother dog remained. She sat beside Amir one evening as the sun dipped below the horizon, painting the room in soft orange light. Amir realized the answer he had been avoiding all along. He would not let her face another goodbye. She had already lost too much. When he spoke softly to her, telling her she was home for good, her tail wagged slowly, and she rested her head against his leg. In that quiet moment, both of them understood. Rescue had come full circle. Not just saving lives, but creating a family built on trust, patience, and unconditional love.